Welcome back. Now, Special Olympics South Africa has launched the Adopt an Athlete campaign ahead of the Special Olympics World Games starting on the 17th of June in the German capital of Berlin. In the previous games in Abu Dhabi, Team South Africa brought home 35 gold, 15 silver and 12 bronze medals. The Special Olympics not only looks at what athletes can achieve, but also efforts to overcome. For more on this, we are now joined by Special Olympics South Africa CEO, Ancilla. Ancilla, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much again for inviting us. Appreciate it.
It's an absolute pleasure. I mean, the countdown, as I said earlier on, to the 2023 Games is certainly on. Just talk to us about the Special Olympic Games.
So, I mean, it's a huge event for us, obviously, as Special Olympics South Africa, but on a global scale, a massive, one of probably the biggest sporting events this year. So we're expecting to compete against 7,000 athletes from over 180 countries.
Sure.
So really excited and really looking forward to this experience for our athletes.
Most certainly. I mean, just talk to us in terms of what the games entail. It's beyond the athletes and their abilities in terms of what they can do on the fields. Just talk to us about the 26 different types of games that they participate in.
Absolutely. I mean, as I said, it is huge. One thing that not many people are aware of is that Special Olympics is accredited directly by the International Olympic Committee. We're the only other organization in the world that has permission to use the word Olympics in our name. And so we follow a lot of their sporting codes, and we obviously subscribe to, their values as an Olympic organization. I mean, we're taking equestrian, we're taking golfers, we're taking aquatics, we're taking bocce, 10-pin bowling, basketball, women's football. So there's going to be a lot on in Berlin, in Germany, and I think, just to see all of these athletes come together to really just compete and enjoy themselves is going to be an incredible experience.
Most certainly. I mean, the South African athletes are the biggest medal winners in South Africa.
Absolutely.
We know that in 2019 they brought home 62 medals from those summer games. Can you just talk to us about the highlights or some of those athletes that really stand out for you?
Well, it is hard. I'm a parent, right?
Right.
So I think, again, Special Olympics probably follows more or less the same sort of model in terms of like Paralympics, in where every athlete competes in their ability level, because obviously based on their disability, or rather their ability level. Yes. That's how we use a system called divisioning. So it is phenomenal to see our athletes compete against, as I said, 7,000 athletes and bring back that many medals. It's an absolute highlight for us because, again, our athletes come from very underprivileged backgrounds, number one. Number two, as people with an intellectual disability, they don't have access to the same kinds of training and sporting facilities as other athletes enjoy. So to see them go and compete against very well-resourced countries like America, Australia, and bring back that medal tally, it just goes to show just how incredibly able they are.
Most certainly.
When they represent our country.
Speaking of that access, how far are we as a country in terms of developing structures within our schools, even for our athletes to be able to compete on global stages?
I mean, obviously, I think the fact that people with intellectual disabilities are segregated and are in special needs schools already puts them at a disadvantage. Sports is not really seen as a priority, and many of those schools are under-resourced. We know that. We're just incredibly fortunate to have very passionate coaches who all volunteer, and the majority of our coaches are those special needs teachers and caregivers, and they give of their time and their energy above and beyond their normal jobs in these special needs schools. But yes, we have a long way to go. before our athletes have the same access to sport as mainstream athletes.
And still on resources, I mean, we are sending through 64 athletes this year, and it costs about 40,000 per athlete to be able to participate in these games. Just break down for us what that 40,000 would generally entail.
So for us, obviously, the big thing for us is making sure that our athletes are able to represent South Africa with pride. When they're standing on that podium, we want them to be proud.
Of course.
So we provide everything, and I'm talking from toiletries to underwear, socks, shoes. So we literally go out and provide an entire kit, not just of sports attire, but casual attire and absolutely everything that they're going to need. We even provide the suitcases, the tog bags, the backpacks. And it's really to ensure that they're not left feeling less than when they're competing against any other nation. That's really important to us. And, you know, I'm going to be very honest, 40,000 Rand is not a lot. If I look at what we're spending on other sporting codes,
yes.
It's minimal. And it's really just to ensure, as I said, that they can be proud when they're representing us.
And you obviously rely on a whole community to come through and assist our athletes with regards to these funds.
100%. I mean, we have run the Adopt an Athlete campaign very successfully for the last 3 World Games. And really just, unfortunately, we do rely on funds. We are an NGO. One thing that we also do is we don't charge any fees for our athletes to participate in Special Olympics, so there's no costs to them whatsoever. So we do rely on reaching out to corporates to assist us and adopt an athlete and help us get them to those games.
And quickly before we wrap up, if corporates are not coming on board, individuals can
absolutely
come on the Back a Buddy campaign.
We have a Back a Buddy campaign.
Okay.
Every little bit helps at this point.
And how does one participate in that?
So you can just, as I said, go onto Back a Buddy, look for the Road to Berlin, and you can just donate straight onto the Back a Buddy page. And if there are corporates listening out there, please adopt an athlete.
We most certainly do hope that many will be rallying behind our athletes. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Ancilla. We wish you all the best. We do know that they will double that 62 number of medals that they brought back the last time. All the best to our athletes, and thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having us.